What is going on, guys? This is Miasin, and this is going to be OCG metagame breakdown number 2 and 3. We still don't have Infinite Forbidden in the OCG yet, so this is going to be pretty much everything before that. But still, the best decks from Infinite Forbidden, I mean, that are getting new support in that set are already doing well in the OCG, so it doesn't even change like all that much. It's just that we're going to be getting new decks and some new engines that are going to make some decks already existing even better, like Fiendsmith, for example. That one's insane. I don't know just how good Gimmick Puppet will be, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting breakdown. But before we go any further, friendly reminder to smash the like and subscribe button. Of course, you already know the drill. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So the first one, first things first, 280 top performing decks that are being covered. That's a big-ass sample size, right? Usually it's like 150, 200, something like that. 98, that's nothing. So yeah, big-ass sample size because it is pretty much like 2 weeks, huh? Number 2 and 3. Alright, so the best deck is Fire King, but not really by a long shot, so 40, and then second place is Tenpai Dragon. Yubel Tenpai Dragon, very interesting. In case you're wondering what the Yubel really stands for, it's just like a small engine of the field spell that destroys Spirit of Yubel from deck to summon Yubel from the deck so that you can contact fuse, or like rather shuffle back Yubel and Spirit of Yubel is to make Phantom of Yubel. So if your opponent hand traps you, then you can just negate it and then summon a Yubel from the deck. So it's a one-card engine that gets you to one monster negate, pretty much. It's the new, like, it's kind of like an Appaloosa in a way because you get to negate Nibiru as well. It's really stupid. This engine should not be a thing. It should not be this splashable. Yubel cards are kind of insane. Like, look at this, man. Yubel Snake Eyes, freaking Yubel Voiceless Voice, Yubel Dinosaur Branded. Like, I feel like this should not be a thing. Anyways, speaking of the devil, well, first of all, Snake Eye, pure Snake Eye-ish, kind of, is doing pretty well, right? Obviously a little less good than in the TCG, because in the TCG, it's always more people play Fire King, but when you look at Top Cut, the conversion rate, it's Snake Eye by a long shot, like pure Snake Eye. Fire King, you know, it's just... Maybe it's because the better players are not playing it, so they're not really giving it like a really good image, but it's a good deck. It's just that for some reason, all the pro players, they want to play pure Snake Eyes. Obviously, I understand the reasoning. It's because they can play more non-engine, so you have more control over, you know, so your hand sometimes. Whereas the Fire King cards, they see them as bricks, and they see them as more non-necessary engine cards because the pure Snake Eye end board is good enough. You know, that's debatable. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It depends. If people are on board breakers, then if you can make some big-ass interruptions with, like, Omega Dispatter, then it's obviously insane because you get to hand loop your opponent for 2. You can also make Herald of Arclight. Maybe not with the Omega and Dispatter, but still, very annoying Omni-Negate to get rid of. The pure Yubel deck, okay, yeah, sure. Without any Unchained cards, I think, or maybe just like the one Sharvara, so it doesn't really qualify it as Yubel Unchained or Fiend deck, the dot deck. So yeah, again, I do believe that this should benefit from Fiendsmith. Pretty much every Fiend deck should get somewhat of a boost. Infernoid, I think, is going to be cracked because the Link 2 is really nice in Infernoid. You can shuffle back the Infernoids from the grave into the deck and then summon the Infernoid fusion. That's kind of neat. Anyways, after that we got Voiceless Voice. Okay, yeah, a lot of different versions. Melodious Voiceless Voice, I've made a shorts on that one yesterday, pretty interesting. And then Yubel Voiceless Voice, like I said. Rescue Ace, absolutely nobody is playing this in the TCG. It's not really good. Melodious Supreme King, not a really big fan because it's really just engine plus engine. It's not really a melodious deck when you think about it. It's just, it plays some Pendulum cards because it has Electrum, and then it plays some Melodious cards because Ostinato is a one-card combo, but it doesn't play First Movement solo because that one does lock you under Melodious only, which defeats the purpose of playing this as an engine. So yeah, if you want to play Melodious, don't even look into the Supreme King cards unless you want to play it as an engine, but you might as well just splash Melodious and like Voiceless Voice. I actually think that deck probably plays it a little better. But as an engine, you're going to be disappointed very often, so I'm not a really big fan. Despia, okay, yeah, sure, good deck, especially in the TCG. If you know how to play this deck, Jesus, it's so good. Ritual Beast, yeah, good deck. Chimera, okay, yeah, can also play with Diabelzi, but nobody's really doing that. I mean, just a one-of, so yeah, they can't do it. Infernoid, okay, what is this? Grass, Horus, Synthospole, Snake Eye, Infernoid. This is complicated for no good reason, because Synthospores should never be like added to the name of any deck because it is like, you know, if you're playing Snake Eyes, you're obviously also playing Diabellstar and Wanted, so adding this is just redundant. It's really stupid. And then Horus, okay, sure, that's interesting. And then the Grass, I mean, I can see, right, at this point, when you're playing so many engines, it's clearly going to be a 60 card deck. It's not going to be a 40 card deck, especially when lawn mowing or grass looks greener is legal in the OCG. They're obviously going to be playing 2 of that card, because yes, it is semi-limited, and they're not going to be playing Left Arm Offering because that card is utter garbage, and also conflicts with Diabell Star. You can't set cards during the turn you use Left Arm Offering, so during the turn, not like for the rest of the turn, so you can't go like Diabell Star first, and then go Left Arm, and then play from... No, you can't do that. Anyways, Labyrinth, okay, another Yubel, Unchained Labyrinth, Yubel, Labyrinth, no shit, you're always gonna see that. Every single deck that can play with Fiend monsters is always gonna be playing Yubel cards. You already know it. And then Mathmech Adignister, oh, I'm actually really shocked to see that it's doing that well. Runic Stun, okay, Yubel Unchained, I feel like at this point we can all agree on the fact that the Yubel engine is something worth looking into. And again, it's very small, so yeah. Although I do agree, I do disagree on the fact that this is separate from the actual Yubel deck, because the Unchained engine is microscopic, honestly. Like, this is probably just 1 Sharvara, no traps, and this is probably like 1 Sharvara, 1 trap. Like, there's really no difference. Like, you're probably not playing the Water Dude, unless you want to make like DDD Caesar, but it's just an extra brick that doesn't really lead to anything. And it's not like you can say that it counters Nibiru, because the Phantom of Yubel already counters Nibiru, so you're really just not adding anything to the deck. Dragon Link, okay, good deck. I mean, at least in the OCG, and the TCG is dog shit. It got like super murdered. Salamangreat, yeah, okay. That deck is just not doing anything, especially, I mean, Code of Soul is not bad. We're going to be getting this card. No, sorry, we already got it from Legacy of Destruction as an OCG import. I don't know just how relevant it is, though. I'm gonna have to look a little bit more into it. I know that you can already do some nice combos in Salamangreat, like, without the need of Code of Soul. And, by the way, there are some nice lines to beat Nibiru in Salamangreat. It's pretty nice. Anyways, then Shreon, Purely, okay, Adamantipator, whatever, Altergeist, Dino, Melodious. Bro, what the hell? Melodious Supreme King is doing better than Pure Melodious? This makes no freaking... Where are you? Hold on a second. It was 10. There we go. 10 Melodious Supreme King and then 2 Pure Melodious. That is absolutely pathetic. I do not like that at all. Anyways, Orchest, Ragna, something, Son of Alonrika, garbage, Sky Striker, blah, blah, blah. So I don't care. Okay, nobody cares. Alright, cool. Fire King now. Okay, so in a world where people are spamming the shit out of Phantom of Yubel, you don't really want to play hand shops, right? At least monster hand shops, because they can easily be negated by this card, and then your combo doesn't really do anything. So people are actually playing a lot of board breakers now, either in the main deck or in the side deck. And Fire King is playing Forbidden Droplet. I mean, at least this version, this deck list is. 2 SP Little Knight, by the way, what? But anyways, 2 Lightning Storm, Duster, okay, so... Yeah, a lot of green cards, right? Anti-Spell doesn't really necessarily deal with Forbidden Droplet. But the 3 back removal to counter it, they do play into it. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting to see. And then the Lyrilusk in the side deck, okay, to beat Tenpai Dragon. Again, in a world where people play Forbidden Droplet, this is really risky, because this does lose to Droplet. It just doesn't lose to Kaijus, because you do not take battle damage for the rest of the turn after you use its effect. So that's interesting. Then for the main deck, I mean, there's really nothing to go into, because this deck list is super standard. Everybody's now playing 2 Consort Volcanics with 1 High Avatar Garunix. The reason for that is because you can rush a Photon Lord very early on in Fire King, and then you do your Snake Eye combo from there. So you're basically playing Fire Kings featuring Snake Eyes, which is the exact opposite of what people were doing before. They were playing Snake Eyes featuring Fire King. They were always starting with their Snake Eye cards, and then they were ending with their Fire King engine. Now, it's not like that. It's the other way around. So they're trying to make a Photon Load first, so that their Snake Eye engine can resolve. I don't know how I really feel about that, because now you're playing a lot of cards that you don't necessarily want to open in your opening hand. Like Consort Volcanics, I mean... It's good in the pure Fire King deck, ironically. Like, a lot of these cards are great in the Fire King deck. Like, even Ponix is fantastic, but in here, I don't know. I don't really feel like it's all that good. Nonetheless, it's a pretty cool deck. Again, I don't really care about Fire King Snake Eyes anymore. I just have like a burnout of that from that deck, honestly. I think pure Fire King is going to be super fun, very interesting. Definitely a different feel, because now you really have to be aware of the existence of Nibiru. You can't really go for like the super greedy combo anymore, which is like Coach King, Giant Trainer, draw a bunch of cards. If you do, you have to summon it on summon number 4, and even that loses to like 1 Veiler, 1 Imperm. So if your opponent doesn't like Veiler your Ponix on summon, then it's gonna be really bad for you. Anyways, pure Snake Eye. So we're still seeing the exact same trend, right, of playing 1 Flamberge with 1 Snake Eye Diabellstar. I understand that, but now my issue is that 1 single Snake Eye Ash doesn't lead to Appaloosa plus Flamberge IP into SP anymore. It doesn't do that. And I don't think it's good enough. Like, if you're playing Snake Eye Diabellstar, what are you trying to do? Like, I see the lines with Midnight early. I'm well aware of the fact that it's also a Spellcaster monster that works with Selene. It is also a Snake Eye monster, and it is a Diabellstar monster that you can search with Wanted, which you're never going to be doing, by the way. You don't want to search this card. You want to place it from your deck in the Spell and Trap Zone with Divine Temple. So this card, it's a one-of that is a very bad card that you don't want to draw, and Flamberge is another bad card that you don't want to draw. So, I mean, bad card. You understand what I'm trying to say. It's just it's a brick, really. It's not a card that in your hand does anything. So, the thing is, if you're playing 2 Flamberge with 1 Snake Eye Diabellstar, you're always in the wrong, because you're just adding 1 extra bad cards in your deck, 1 extra bad card. But if you're playing, like, 1 Flamberge, 1 Snake Eye Diabellstar, I also think you're wrong, because at this point, you might as well just play the second Flamberge. I think the second Flamberge is a little better. So, I don't know what they're trying to do in the OCG. I don't think in the TCG people are really going to be playing this card. I could be wrong. I'm just going to make a gamble right now and say that you can play without Snake Eye Diabellstar and have great results, honestly. So, this card is like the definition of a card that you do not have to play in order to succeed. 3 Chicken Game, this is because of the, I mean, not really lack of consistency, but it did get, like, somewhat of a nerf with, like, 2 less Wanteds and 1 less Snake Eye Ash, so that's how they were compensating. Again, no Dueling Logbird is being played either in the main deck or side deck, and Chicken Game is a card that you can send with your Snake Eye monsters pretty much for free, so I understand the logic behind playing Chicken Game. This is one of the very few decks where it does make sense. But again, in a world where people are on Dueling Logbird, you don't want to have this card in your deck whatsoever. And the TCG, we don't have Max C, so we gotta compensate by playing some other hand traps instead. Usually we're seeing Mourner or Nibiru replacing the slot of Max C. So our 12 hand traps that are super average would be Ash, Veiler, Imperm, and then either Mourner, Nibiru, Droll, sometimes Ogre, sometimes Bestial, very rarely DD Crow. I don't know, it's just, and Ghost Bell is dog shit, like nobody's really main decking this, or they're sometimes just playing like 9 or 12 hand traps, and then they're main decking 3 cross out because they only have 1 cross out, and sometimes we do 3 cross out with 3 talent, and then the 1 call by the grave, in order to counter hand traps as well as we really can. But yeah, this is, I mean, relatively close to like a TCG deck list in a way, kind of, whereas this is like completely different because they also have Consort Volcanics, the one of Garunix, and they do not play Snake Eye Oak, which is beyond unacceptable. This is wrong for so many reasons. It makes a lot of the combos just no longer work, so I don't like it. And the side deck, very interesting, right? With Dramatic Chase, Silvera, the one of D-Barrier that you can finally get off of the 2 of Thrust. I was really tired of seeing 1 D-Barrier with 1 Thrust. Makes 0 sense, especially when you can't search it. But yeah, that kind of makes sense. If you're at least playing like 2 Thrust, it kind of translates to playing 3 Barrier. Or 1 Barrier when you don't want to, and then 2 of any other normal spell card or normal trap card, but not really. Unless you're trying to go into like Imperm, which is relevant against Flunderies, but that's it. Okay, not bad, not bad. There's really nothing else to cover. Again, no Kikinaga Shifucho, but rather Lyrilusk Assemble Nightingale. I think that's the name. So yeah, if you get hit by Forbidden Droplet or Imperm, you are not going to be happy. But Tenpai Dragon, look at this. This is exactly what I mean by meta trends are very relevant, and you have to be aware of them and deck build to beat what people are playing. If people are playing Kaijus, you gotta play the Lyrilusk. If people are playing Droplet and Imperm, stop playing this card and play Kikinaga Shifucho instead. You pick your poison. Both of the Xyz monsters, they lose to one card or the other. You can't beat both, unless like you can randomly guess what your opponent has in hand, or you go like Talents and then you play like the two Xyz, and you just make the one that doesn't lose to whatever your opponent has in the hand. That could work, but it's unrealistic because the extra deck space is super tight. As a matter of fact, this card is being played on the side deck in both Far King and Snake Eye, so it's not the kind of thing that you can really afford. Now, one thing that I also did, I mean, I guess I really disagree with Tenpai Dragon's deck building here. Way too many hand traps, not enough board breakers. Forbidden Droplets is the only one. I say Lightning Storm is pretty good. You should probably look into main decking this card, especially in a deck like this, Because your opponent, sometimes he might have just a bunch of back row and now play into your hand traps, and the hand traps just won't do anything. Lightning Storm is always good. It's good when you have a combination of hand traps and Lightning Storm in your one-card combo, because you hand trap your opponent so that he has to, like, pass on a very, like, a mid-board, and then you either Lightning Storm for back row so that you don't really have to be afraid of Infinite Impermanence or even Forbidden Droplet that's being set, or, like, Floodgates like Kaiser Colosseum, or, you know, you use it to destroy a bunch of attack position monsters, like against Flunderies, which is your worst matchup. Lightning Storm for the Empen is very good. So again, I would say main deck 2 Lightning Storm in the TCG in order to not kind of mimic their mistakes. Ghost Bell, for the love of God, stop playing that dog shit card. It's really bad. It's really copium. I understand the one of, because you draw it into it off of Maxi. So I understand the logic in the TCG, sorry, in the OCG, but in the TCG it makes absolutely no sense. And then we're seeing one Prosperity, one Desires. No comment, honestly. In the TCG, we have 3 Prosperities, so this is not something that you really have to, you know, waste your time with. The deck building is going to be a little more, I guess, obvious, because there's also no Kaiser Colosseum. You're clearly not trying to main deck Heatwave. You could side deck it, but people are also cutting Heatwave from their side deck. We're seeing D-Berry and Rivalry instead. Rivalry is scary as hell, because nobody's really guessing that you're siding into, like, Floodgates in a deck like Tenpai Dragon, but it does make sense because you only play Dragon monsters. So yeah, be on the lookout for this card. And then yeah, how many hand traps is that? 3, 6, 7, 10, 13, 15, 18 hand traps with 3 board breakers. So 21 non-engine, and actually no, 23. And then the rest is just a bunch of engines. So yeah, again, by the way, so this is pre-Infinite Forbidden. It will change a little bit when we get the new something Draco, the Poke Draco. It's evolution basically, and the yellow Tenpai Dragon. It's pretty good card. But yeah, for the most part, this deck list is fine, I guess. And then Yubel is where it gets very interesting. So, noteworthy things. There is, first of all, no of the level 12 Yubel monster, and only 2 Spirit of Yubel, which obviously I can understand. 3 Dark Beckoning Beast with 3 Samsara Lotus. The issue here is that now you have too many normal summons if one of them doesn't resolve, because there's only 1 continuous spell. I don't really know how much I agree with it. I don't necessarily disagree either, because I understand the logic of, you know, you don't want to draw this card when you already have Dark Beckoning Beast, but drawing this card when this gets negated, and then still normal summoning the Samsara is pretty good. So this engine to me kind of feels a little bit like a win more, but otherwise you don't have enough engine starters, because Samsara Lotus on its own, it's not enough, and Infernal Grave Squirmer is an extender, not a starter. So I understand the logic of playing these cards, because when you don't have Samsara, at least this is like a 1-card Unchained combo, which is not too bad. And yeah, this is what they classify as a pure Yubel, when they're only playing 1 Sharvara and 1 Trap. So I guess the Yubel Unchained deck would be playing several Unchained monsters, maybe Aruha and again the Water Dude, which you really don't need. By the way, this new rank 10 monster is basically Baron. You got 2 materials on it at first when you summon it, and then you can detach 1 material, negate something, and you can also detach an additional material to destroy a card on the field doesn't target, so it's not too bad. And then obviously 3 Phantom of Yubel, which is the card that I talked about, negates any monster effect, and then it forces your opponent to destroy one of your Yubel monsters, so it destroys itself, and then it summons Yubel from the deck. And then it also makes it so that the Samsara can also negate something and then do the exact same thing, which is not fun at all to play against. So yeah, it's really annoying, Jesus. And we're seeing 3 Typhoon in the side deck. Very interesting. Apparently it's for the mirror match, right? When they got Nightmare Throne and opening of the Spirit Gates, if they got like 2 spell cards on the field, then, I mean, you know, their field spell, it's a card that places itself on the field, and then they destroy Spirit of Yubel, they summon Yubel, and then they find a way to special summon Spirit of Yubel. Actually, no, that is not how the combo works. They destroy... Jesus... I'm very lost. They search Samsara, and then they summon Spirit of Yubel, which gets you Nightmare Throne, and then you activate it, and then you get hit by Typhoon. So it is a Ghost Ogre in a way that doesn't play into Phantom of Yubel, or Call by the Grave, or even Cross Out for the most part, or Triple Tactic Talents. So I understand the reasoning behind it, and it's actually not too bad. So Typhoon is kind of cute, and it has some other decent matchups, I guess. It's a fine card. A Pointer of the Red Lotus, we don't have it, so stop looking at it. Change of Heart, this card, is it a 3 now in the TCG? I forgot. I know it's a 3 in the OCG, obviously no shit. Otherwise, judge. But yeah, no, it's a card that you gotta commit into if you're playing it. Or you can play like one of with Rust. So even at 3, this card doesn't really break the game. It's crazy how Yu-Gi-Oh is evolving to like an insane pace. Yeah, nothing else really note looking into in this Yubel deck list. I mean, it's relatively standard, relatively obvious. This card right here before the Yubel favorite continuous chop card, I have no idea what it is. Oh yeah, New World Amritara. There we go. It's for set rotation apparently. Yeah, because we just need more field spells. That's about all it really does, I think. I guess when like one of your monsters is destroyed, you can summon like another one or something. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever. You can play like any field spell at this point. You can play like Chicken Game if you really want like more Nightmare Thrones access with set rotation. So it doesn't really matter. Anyways, voice is voice. There is no reason to look into this combo because I have made a video about it. I mean a short, so it's really cool. You can destroy Tenpai Dragon with the Odd Ice Pendulum Grab Dragon. It summons Meteor Burst, and then that prevents your opponent from activating monster effects during the battle phase. Monster effects or like any card effects, whatever, it's pretty good. And yeah, everything else is very obvious. Again, the Blessing, I don't like it because you're playing a lot of cards that are not really voice cards, so this card might be dead sometimes, right? But you do draw one card with the Concerto, the normal spell card. So your one card combo, the one of Ostinato, can lead to you having 5 cards in hand and then unbreaking and then just pop off with the voice engine. So it's pretty nice. Oh my god, even more decks. Okay, I was not expecting that. Rescue Ace. I really do not care. I absolutely do not care about Rescue Ace. And then in conclusion, none of this is really worth looking into because the metas we're going to be changing a little bit once we get Infinite Forbidden. But yeah, so far, we can see the impact of Phantom of Yubel already in the OCG, and it's going to be nuts in the TCG as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Peace.